What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back to work on the 2023 Kawasaki Ninja H2 that is fully built. Stage 3 supercharger gears, H2R cams. This thing is a ripper. But we still have a bit to go before this sucker is rebuilt and ready for the road. Just opened up some OEM Kawasaki parts, oil filter, gasket for the clutch cover, new clutch cover. This sucker took a while to come in. Your oil fill cap that goes here, the other larger cap right here screws into this top side, and then the oil peephole where you're able to tell your oil level in between these lines. This is that piece that just pushes in, and this is that clear peephole that pushes in from the backside into place. Plus a bunch of other small miscellaneous pieces that you guys will see installed later on in the video. Now, with the help of the little bro, we were able to get this rear suspension suspended without any tension on this rear wheel. And that's because I gotta pop this rear wheel off to install the brake line on the caliper down there and torque down this middle hub that was never torqued down to begin with. This is a 32mm 12-point socket that goes on the inside and the outside. Plus torquing down our eccentric hub on this single-sided swing arm. Now, we already have the speed sensor plugged in, but we're just missing the brackets to go on top of this swing arm. So with a piece of rebar running through the swing arm hole, we were able to use 2 jack stands and get this whole thing suspended so I can pop this rear wheel off and start finalizing the rear hub. Right now, we're gonna take a quick break and open up over $150 worth of tools for the shop. I got all these tools for my workshop for under $150 shipped to my door. I was tired of having messy drawers. I got a bunch of magnetic socket organizers, which is a game changer for efficiency around the shop. If you guys are looking to get quality tools for your workshop from Temu, I have a special deal. You can get $100 off your order with the link in the description or the QR code on screen. Plus, these organizers for my socket drawer are a game changer when it comes to finding what I need. I've been needing a large socket set for motorcycle axles, and large wrenches is something I've been missing in this shop. Man, organization, you gotta love it. Now, with that rear wheel off, we can access the caliper, and turns out I really needed that wheel off because there were no bolts for the speed sensor plate on the rear hub. I totally forgot about that when I first assembled the swing arm. Thankfully, we've worked on a lot of motorcycles around here, so I have a bunch of bolts that I could look through and find 5 bolts that I needed. It just so happens I had 5 perfect matching bolts that are the exact length and thread pitch for this speed sensor plate on the rear hub. Even the existing bolt in the hub didn't even seem like it fit right. Using red Loctite and then installing them into the rear hub. Afterwards, we packed the rear teeth and hub with grease and installed it all together for one final assembly, torquing down that rear middle nut that sandwiches the sprocket hub with the cush drive and the rear rotor all together. You're welcome. Muchas gracias. Well, unfortunately, this was a pretty big mistake. As you guys saw, we previously painted this rear wheel and got rid of the shiny spokes on it. Well, I didn't do a very good job sanding it the first time around, and there were some spots where the paint was chipping up. Well, we had to resand the whole wheel once again, getting all those crevices and really smooth this sucker out, because it is crucial to sand every single surface on the wheel before you paint it, or else the paint will simply not adhere to the wheel and it will start to chip up like it did on mine. I started off by using 400 grit sandpaper, but after about an hour, I was getting real tired of that, so we swapped over to a wire wheel on a drill, which was pretty dull, so it did a great job sanding on the surface without leaving any scratches. Then after a couple hours of that, it was ready to paint. So first we used an air gun to blow out all the crevices, then we used wax and grease remover to make sure the surface was nice and clean and ready to lay down some matte black spray paint. Well guys, after about a couple hours of sanding, we're gonna repaint that rear wheel because there was tiny chips in the middle of the barrel. Very unfortunate, but it was noticeable, so we sanded everything down once again, this time using a wire wheel and then a 400 grit. But nonetheless, now we're gonna tape it up and spray it in. Very conveniently, the eccentric hub tool is actually stored in the sub tray on these Ninja H2s. Strangely enough, I've never seen mesh inside of a clutch cover before. But anyway, we swapped that over along with the brand new oil sight hole that is simply pressed into the backside of the case and held in with a snap ring. Once those were in, we just needed a few more caps off of the old clutch cover to swap those over. But they were both damaged, so we ended up spicing them up with a little bit of matte black spray paint. And just like that, we have fully installed everything on our brand new clutch cover from Kawasaki. Swapped over the plugs on the outside along with this scrape plate and this mesh and foam on the inside that I had no idea about. Nothing goes in these bottom two holes, but I'm curious why they have those threaded on this case. Now, interestingly enough, this whole case is magnesium. As you can see, the MG stands for magnesium. And fun fact, the magnesium metal actually costs $3.50 per pound. So our old case is done for, and we stripped everything out of the backside. And while we were looking in this clutch assembly, we found what happened to the old snap ring that holds that sight in place. And it's all the way down there. We're gonna get it with a magnet real quick. There we go. Pretty deformed, but glad that didn't run in the engine. That would have caused some serious issues. Now I'm gonna be looking for any other pieces of dirt or debris or metal pieces that got stuck in the bottom of that oil pan before I put this all back together. But while we have this case opened, here's some really cool stuff. Here you have your timing chain guards, and then on the inside of the case is where they place the magnetic sensor for the crankshaft position. This wheel spins and there's a magnet inside this box which tells the ECU where the crankshaft is at in terms of TDC, or top dead center. Since there's a magnet in this box, there's actually some magnetic particles on the outside of it that I can simply wipe off with a rag. Very fine metallic parts, nothing that would harm the engine. This crankshaft position sensor runs in the case, and then it actually comes through the case on the outside, and the plug travels all the way down to here, which then plugs into the main harness. I do not know what these two things are. This is some sort of contraption that looks like it's for the transmission, and then you have this gear down here that's behind the main flywheel. Now on this main flywheel, we have upgraded springs. And I know that because our old clutch springs from this bike. With the power he's making on this bike, which is 298 horsepower, I'm sure they upgraded the springs and maybe even the clutch plates when they were doing all that work to the supercharger gears, which is up next. I assume right back there is your first supercharger gear, and that chain runs all the way up to the supercharger. Right here are the old supercharger gears, both the bottom and the top. The ones that are in it right now are stage 3. I'm not sure what makes these ones stage 1 and the ones in the bike stage 3. I'm guessing tooth size so that the supercharger spins faster, creating more boost. A smaller supercharger gear would hypothetically turn the supercharger faster, creating more boost. Now on this clutch, I know they've been in here because you can see these bottom two bolts are the exact same. And then this top bolt is a completely different bolt. So I wonder if someone lost a bolt and they had to just use whatever they had laying around, because that is not factory for sure. Enough speculation. Now we need to remove this gasket around the outside because we have a new one. We are going to clean up this mating surface all the way around the case. Then with all the bolts in order so I can put them back how I took them out, we're going to install our brand new case that we just built back up. Clutch cover is on. Man, that looks so good. Finally getting rid of those scratches on the right side of the engine. Now we got another box to open up for you guys, so let's crack it open and show you what we got. Well, we got to open up the rest of our Kawasaki parts that have arrived, including a brand new lower triple tree. This was expensive, but it was much needed because either I damaged those threads or the threads were damaged upon reinstallation of the top triple tree nut. So we're playing it safe by just going with a whole new one. I believe they sent me out the wrong hose, unfortunately. I ordered the one that goes from here to the radiator, and this one is not the right one. This one goes on the other side down low, and this one's in perfect condition. I'm not sure why they gave me this one. We also threw in the right side rear set, which was all cracked off when we got this bike. Unfortunately, I'm missing the spring in here, as well as the rear brake lever. As you can see, this one is all bent, along with the bolt back here, which is bent too, and the spring that connects to the bottom of this rear brake lever that connects to the rear brake light switch pin, which pulls down every time you activate the brake lever. But no problem, we'll order those and they'll come in no time. That's gonna be all for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. We will catch you in the next one. See ya.